All right, so let's continue to chapter 14 of the book of Judges, and um, again, I want to really emphasize this point that the Spirit didn't simply softly guide Samson. We're going to see repeatedly that there are agitations that God is using a very imperfect and prideful man, but still to achieve what God wants. Okay? God can choose any lump of clay. All right? Okay. Verse 14. Um, chapter 14. Chapter 14, verse 1. And Samson went down to Timnath and saw a woman of Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. All right, this is already bad, right? Okay, let me kind of put it this way. Let's say the Nazis invaded Germany, invaded England. Let's say they invaded England, okay? And so Nazis were running everything, and then one of the English lads, of respect, said, "Hey, I think I want to marry that Nazi chick." Okay, there'd be a little bit of pushback. Hey, no, these are invaders. We don't marry the invaders. We don't marry the oppressors. We don't do that. And even more, you were supposed to marry not just another uh, Jewish person. You were actually supposed to keep it within your tribes, unless there was something necessary. What we'll see at the end. Anyway, Samson went down to Timnath and he saw a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. But he came up and told his father and his mother and said, "I've seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore, get her for me to wife." What a sweet young man. Right? I mean, just, hey, mom, dad, I know I'm already breaking your heart. Now you go fetch her for me. All right? Do whatever deal needs to be done. I want her. So, what spiritual attraction do you think Samson had for this Philistine woman? None. He just saw her and went, wow. Right? Verse 3, then his father and his mother said unto him, "Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among all my people, that thou goest to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines?" What are they saying?
Like her out of all of them.
I'm sorry?
Her out of all of them that they have.
Yeah, you're like, okay, let's put her, but isn't there anyone on our side? Anyone? Every once in a while, this verse will come up when either a guy or girl says, "Pastor, I'm in love." "Oh, really? What church? Who is it? What church?" They go, "Well, they're not Christians yet." I go, "There's no Christian in the whole wide world. None. You decided to go, well, you can't choose who you love. You chose to start it, dummy. Sometimes I'm not that nice, okay? But I will be nice with anybody that over here. But anyways, yeah, there's a problem. They say there's nobody in Israel. None. Nobody. And Samson said to his father, "Get her for me, for she pleaseth me." What a
What a gentleman.
What a gentleman. Pleases me well. Now, here is the phrase. She pleases me well. Here's the phrase that he's actually saying in the Hebrew. Ready? She is right in my eyes. Why does he want to marry her? She is right in his eyes. What is the theme verse for Judges? Every man does that which is right in his own eyes. He is embodying this verse. And so we see here, like, Samson is really not an exception to Israel's issues. He's living them out. Remember what I told you when we started this? That the judges are just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Samson's still not the worst. Verse 4, but his father and his mother knew not that it was of the Lord, that he sought an occasion against the Philistines. For at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel. Now hold on a second. Now we have a caveat. Now we see behind the veil. Now we have a little peek. Who wanted this to happen? The Lord. All right. So, does the Lord want Samson to go against God's word?
No, but he knows Samson's going to do it. So he's going to use the situation for his glory.
Right. And
it's
that's
tricky, isn't it?
It really is. But that's really what's being said here. What's being said here is Manoah and his wife, Samson's mom and dad, are like, no, this is totally wrong. But what they didn't know is that God was going to use it. What they didn't know is God was saying, it's all right. It's all right. I know how to get glory out of this. God can get glory out of things. I remember when my daughter, Dana, you never met her, but my late wife had a child out of wedlock before we ever got married. And one day my daughter asked me, she said, Dad, if mom was right with God and did everything that she should have done, I wouldn't have been born, would I? Right? Now, it wasn't that God says, hey, Ruth Ann, it's okay for you to do this out of wedlock. That wasn't the point. God says, hey, I'm able to use this. Whatever you think is the absolute point, I literally, this is going to sound like a preacher story, but I promise you this is the truth. Last night, I literally was talking to an old high school friend that I haven't spoken to since 1989. And literally, he was telling me how his life is falling apart and everything like that. And he was explaining to me how, he was a Christian, but God's so far away from him. And I said, so what's going to separate you from the love of God? Does that almost sound like a verse? What shall separate us from the love of God? I said, okay, you did this, and this was terrible. Were you separated from God's love? It's like, well, yeah. And he paused. I said, it's not that God says, oh, it's okay, or he winks at it, or he just smooths it over. But God is greater than your blunders. God is greater than your stupidity. Every single time. And not that God was approving of anything, of Samson's desires or prideful attitudes or anything like that, but God certainly was able to use it. God was certainly able to use it. I've already used this once. World War II, Adolf Hitler. Was God able to use Adolf Hitler? Well, I'd say yes. I mean, the whole world at the end of World War II says, man, the Jews need their own country so that they can protect themselves. Now, God wasn't behind the Holocaust. God wasn't behind all those terrible things, but God certainly used it, right? And so here we see, again, like you said, Susie, it's a tough one. We've really got to examine it, but we've got to examine it with the character of God. God will never go outside of his character. God will never go outside of his word. He is immutable. What does immutable mean?
Immutable?
No, close, but no. Unchanging. Very good, little theologian. Yeah, unchanging. You knew that. You just wanted somebody else to answer. Immutable. He's unchanging. I'm the Lord. I change not. And so we see this, and he's not winking at sin, but he says, okay, I can use this. And again, why did God allow this? Because he sought an occasion against the Philistines. God says, we're going to use Samson's stupidity. We're going to use Samson's immorality, vileness, and we're going to use that as a springboard to release Israel out of the Philistines, because I put them in the hand of the Philistines, and God says, now it's time to get them out of the hand of the Philistines. By the way, if you ever want a teacher to kind of not see you, always sit on their right. Teachers normally always go this way. That's the reason why sometimes I'll have to, it's been a while. Let me look back over there. And again, God reminds us in verse 4, for at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel. Then went Samson down, and his father and his mother, to Timnath. It's interesting that wherever Samson goes, it seems like mommy and daddy's always going. I'm going to give you a Pickett theology. Okay? Now, Pickett theology is very important, because if I believe it, it must be true. However, if you go, I don't agree with that, cool. On your way out, just put it in the black bins, okay? Don't put it in the green bins. The green bins have to be bagged recycling, okay? Put it in the gray bins, all right? Throw it out. But this is what I think. Remember how Manoah was like, well, okay, he's going to do that. How do we take care of him? I think he's babying Samson. I think Samson's a little bit of a spoiled brat. I'll be honest with you. I just really do. I mean, he's having a strop, right? I want her. You're gonna give me her. I'm gonna be really mad and sad, and I'm not gonna eat my lentils. That's who he is. Why does he want it? Because she pleased me, and wherever he goes, mommy and daddy's always with them. And verse 5, then went Samson down and his father and mother to Timnath, and came to the vineyards of Timnath, and behold, a young lion roared against him. Which is a little bit of a negative thing, right? That would bother me. When I was in Australia, I fed a lion, and it was on the other side of a fence. And I want you to know, it looked dead at me, and I was looking dead at it, and I'm like, I'm so glad this fence is here, because it. And I think he's like, you taste good, buddy. And then he just went just a little bit. I'm like, all right, I've had enough. This is. I mean, it's pretty intense. When this lion roared against him, mom and dad's with him, right? But it roared against Samson. And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him. And he rent him as he would rent a kid. What does the word rent mean? Rips apart. Like back in Jesus' days, when the Pharisees wanted to show how upset they were, they rent their robes. Oh, blasphemy! And he ripped him apart, and he had nothing in his hand. But he told not his father or his mother what had been done. So actually, I guess mom and dad wasn't with him at that point. I guess they were a little bit away, but I don't know where he was. But if he didn't have a tool in his hand, how did he kill this lion? With his hands. He ripped it apart. What is that golden syrup brand? Lyle's. If you look at it, it's got this picture on it. And it's about Samson getting stuff out, sweet as honey, out of it. It uses this Bible thing. Okay, and so he didn't tell mom and dad what he's done, and so he went down and talked with the woman. And she pleased him well. Pleasing, was agreeable. Now there is at the end of Judges, I will just say this. I do think the Bible's being polite here. I think at bare minimum, the Philistine was using her little Philistine ways and attracted him, but it seems like something else is going on. I'm just going to be honest with you. That's the type of moral character Samson has, so I don't doubt it. Verse 8, after the time he returned to take her, and he returned aside to see the carcass of the lion, and behold, there was a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. All right, so as you do, a little bit of time passes. You see the dead lion that you ripped in half, and inside that dead lion are a bunch of bees, and they're making honey. This is already gross, right? So what does Samson do? By the way, what is the oath Samson has as a Nazarite?
Not to eat
Anything
anything
unclean.
Don't eat anything unclean.
Eat anything of the vines.
Don't eat anything of the vine. No alcoholics, no strong drink. Don't shave your head. Unclean. Nothing that's dead. He couldn't be involved in a funeral procession or anything like that. Okay? So what does he do? The Bible says in verse 9, he took thereof in his hands and went on eating. Oh, look, here's a decaying lion. Let me reach into it and grab some honey. Okay, let's just stop here for a second. Gross, right? Plus, what else is in the lion besides lion?
Bees.
Bees. But what does Samson do? He just reaches in there and like, oh, good, let me have some honey. Why is this just a dumb thing overall? Just give me a couple of reasons.
Oh, he's going to get stung.
He's going to get stung. He's going out of his way. Why else?
You're eating out of like a decaying animal. It's disgusting.
Yeah. No, seriously, there's a muntjac and it died, but there's some bees in there. I just scooped it out. I'm using it Sunday for all the hot drinks. Right?
Makes perfect sense.
But why else is this stupid?
He's also breaking his oath.
He's breaking his vow. He's breaking his oath. Now, get this. In order for him to break his oath, he has to risk being stung and eating honey out of a dead, rotting, stinking lion. I wouldn't want... This is in the part of the world when something's dead and it's just hanging outside, it doesn't begin to smell better. I think there's a real spiritual thing here. In order for him to break his vow, he doesn't just break it, he has to go out of his way. I would say that the blessings God has given him, he despises. I mean, he is the classic spoiled brat.
What? Can I ask
Yeah,
something?
please.
I'm a bit confused because I thought, like, Samson, I thought he would kind of, in this time, I thought he would have to follow more after what his parents said. But he doesn't. Wouldn't that be normal? Like, in this time, the parents would choose the...
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying that, that's not...
No.
But in this time...
No, you're exactly right.
So how come he's laying down the rules? And his parents are saying, okay.
This is... Exactly.
I think get it.
Because just because something's right doesn't mean people do it. And that's always been the case. Always. And you're right. And this, again, makes me lean into more, I think he's just a spoiled brat. Have you ever seen a kid throw a fit because they didn't get what they want? By the way, after Christmas, YouTube is full of it. Oh, man. Man, you get kids. They got a Nintendo DS instead of a Nintendo DS XYN or something like that. Just whatever the newer thing. They got an iPhone 16 instead of an iPhone 17. Why do you hate me so much? And you see some of these spoiled kids and they wreck their stuff. And you're like, oh, if I was that parent, I would kill that child. But if you were their parent, that child wouldn't be in the mess it's in. Again, I really I look at this and I'm reading between the Pickett theology. I'm reading between the lines. You can say, Pastor, I don't agree with you, but Susie, this is for me understanding what you're understanding. I'm like, this is the only thing that makes sense. These are just very overly permissive parents that go, oh, tut, 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 but they still, yeah, okay, go ahead.
But his mum did so well before.
Do you think that's why though? Because the angel of the Lord came down and said that to them, that they're like giving more what he wants because of that.
Well, I think that this is a classic example of we see something that God says, and then we see people abuse what God says. And yeah, I would say, oh, well, they probably thought this kid's going to be really, really special. But I don't think it was his mom. I think it's his dad. Because if you look, he came up and told his father and his mother, go get me, one of the daughters of Timnath, get her for me to wife. And the father and mother said, is there never, it seems like the father is I personally feel, even though the mother still mentioned, I think the father is kind of yeah, I do. So that's what I think. And I think I might agree with you, Susie. I think Samson's breaking his mom's heart. That's what we see. Where are we? So he took the carcass out of line. That's so gross.
Yeah, but look what he does next.
Right. So his father went down unto the woman, and Samson made there a feast. Now,
no, you missed it.
No, what did I say?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. And he took thereof in his hands and went on eating, and came to his father and mother, and he gave them. They did eat, mom and dad. Yeah.
But
Yeah. But he did not tell them that it had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion. This is the reason why, if you guys ever have kids, and your kids make you breakfast in the morning, you better. Heard this one story of this one kid that made peanut butter on crackers for his dad, and he's like, oh, thank you, and he was in bed and she gave it to him, and then she said, want to know how I made it? He's like, yeah, sure. And then his wife kind of looks at him and says, I didn't think we had any peanut butter. And she says, I got peanut butter, I put it in my mouth, and I chewed it really, really good.
Oh. That sounds quite nice.
You don't want to know where she got the jam. Anyways, so yeah, I hear mom and dad have some too. Verse 10 so the father went down. Always ask where your kids are bringing you food, okay? Just always ask that. One time, Damian Jr., we're driving, and we're not in our car, we're in a pastor's car, and we're on our way to get lunch. This is important. We're not coming back from lunch, we're on our way to get lunch. Turn around, and Damian's eating a chicken nugget. Okay, cool. I'm clicking. Oh, chicken nugget. Where do you get a chicken nugget from? On the back, he's eating a French fry. I'm like, Damian, are you eating a chicken nugget and some fries? Yeah. I'm like, did you put something in your pocket or something like that, Discover? I'm like, where did you get that? He's like, inside the seat is full of them. Always ask. Okay. All right. Verse 10. So the father went down unto the woman, and Samson made there a feast. Now, does anybody know what a feast is? Huh?
Banquet?
It sounds so nice, doesn't it? No, it's a drunken festival. Okay, so Samson wasn't allowed to touch anything unclean. What else isn't he allowed to do? Drink. Now we don't see him drinking it here. We don't. I don't read it.
But he's encouraging them.
But he's sure,
everybody else
yeah,
to
it seems to be Samson. Come on, buddy. And why does he do it? For so used the young men to do. Hey, everybody's doing it, Dad. Everybody's doing it, Mom. We got to do it. I mean, this is the classic, peer pressure, just going with the crowd. This guy, anyways, verse 11, and it came to pass when they saw him that they brought 30 companions to be with him. Hey, Samson, you don't need to be at this party by yourself. You need to have 30 friends with you. 30 Philistine friends. Nazis, the bad guys. Hang around them. You're marrying one of their, cousins or something. And Samson said unto them, I will now put forth a riddle unto you. If you can certainly declare it me within the 7 days of the feast, this is a long feast, man, and find out, I will give you 30 sheets and 30 changes of garment. What's a sheet? A linen wrapper, a fine linen that was kind of the outer bit. Okay. Another idea is shirts. But anyways, 30 sheets and 30 changes of garment. So people only had like one. You understand that? People aren't like you. They didn't go into their closet and have to figure out what's what. I mean, I've got 5 suits, and I just recite. First suit, I wear it, then I put it in the back, and they didn't have that. They wore that forever, kind of like blue jeans. You didn't have to wash them. You don't have to wash blue jeans, right? You know that. Right?
Of course I know that.
Yes, absolutely. They wash themselves. They're antibacterial. Google it. That's all I'm saying is Google it. I'm still trying to convince Christiana that she doesn't believe it, but it's the truth. But they didn't. It's true. President of Levi's, he says, I don't wash myself. Yeah.
Yeah, because he can just get another pair from the shop.
No, but that's not what he does.
He clearly hasn't spilled his dinner down his jeans.
Yeah.
Just wait a week, and that little dinner fades away.
Blends with the other one.
It does. All right. So he says, I'm going to give you a riddle.
Is that where you get it from?
If you win, I have to get you 30 new garments. But if you cannot figure it out, if you cannot declare it, verse 13, then shall you give me 30 sheets and 30 changes of garments. Which again, understanding, because people only had one, 30 would make you quite wealthy. I mean, that's a lot. And they said unto him, and by the way, where would they get these things? Either their own or they're going to have to buy them, but they better figure it out. And they said, all right, put forth thy riddle that we may hear it, you dumb Jew. We're smart Philistines. Let's figure this out.
So they're definitely Philistine companions.
Yes.
It says in mine just companions. So
they're because he's going down to Timnath. He's going down to where the Philistines are.
Like the wife's.
Yeah. This is what it seems like to me. Okay, and here's the riddle. Verse 14, and he said, out of the eater came forth meat or food. That's what meat means, food. And out of the strong came forth sweetness. And they could not in 3 days expound the riddle. Now, out of the eater came forth meat, out of the strong. I mean, this is a kind of a really self-centered riddle, right? It's kind of like, what do I have in my pocket? That's what you have to guess. And so he's giving this, but those are the only clues that he gives. And by the way, what's the answer? The honey out of the lion, right? Verse 15, and it came to pass on the 7th day that they said unto Samson's wife, entice thy husband, that he may declare unto us the riddle, lest we burn thee and thy father's house with fire. Have ye called us to take that we have? Is it not so? All right, what is that meaning? To take that which we have, to seize, dispose of, take possession of. It's a big threat. Okay, if you don't tell us, it's not that we're going to lose. We're going to burn you and your dad's house. Okay. So verse 16, Samson's wife wept before him. Thou dost but hate me and lovest me not. Thou puttest forth a riddle unto the children of my people
Ah, my people. Okay, good.
and hast not told it me. Why are you being so selfish, Samson? All right, Jude and Brad, listen up. Don't listen to a woman's cries. Don't do it. Just don't.
Interesting that she doesn't say to Samson, look, those guys you're having a feast with,
Yeah,
they threaten my
life. They said they're going to
life.
burn me.
and my
Why don't you rip
dad's
them in
house."
half, buddy?
But she doesn't.
No.
Why she? I'd be saying, look at your friends. So
Yeah. And he said unto her, behold, I've not told it to my father nor my mother, and shall I tell it to thee? I haven't even told my mom and dad. Why would I tell you? Mama's boy. I mean, seriously, the more we go on, he's a mama's boy, right? Okay. Verse 17. And
no,
she
'cause
wept.
then he'd follow after his mum. He's not a mum.
Okay, he said,
He's a not
okay.
a daddy.
It's not, he does. And she wept before him the 7 days. While the feast lasted, I can't have any fun in our drunken party. And it came to pass on the 7th day that he told her. And she lay sore upon him. And she told the riddle to the children of her people. And the men of the city said unto him on the 7th day before the sun went down, we're so clever. What is sweeter than honey? And what is stronger than a lion? Whoa, who said lion? I didn't say lion. Riddle didn't say lion. You know, but that's what they're saying now, right? So it sounds like they know. And he said unto them, if ye have not plowed with my heifer, ye had not found out my riddle. Okay. Plowed with my heifer. This is a term that probably equals close to sexual abuse. Okay? Now, he doesn't say, I'm really mad about this. How dare you mistreat my girl? He says, that's how you found out? Great. If you didn't do that, you would have never found out my riddle. Oh, it was perfect. He seems more upset that his riddle was found out. What a nice, godly man. You know, that's the reason why we always tell our little girls, now listen, you need to marry somebody in the Bible. You know, somebody really biblical like Samson. Right? Verse 19. Now he's mad, right? He's irritated. Why is he irritated?
Because they found out his riddle.
Yeah, his pride is hurt. So the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. The Spirit of the Lord's agitating him. You know, he's already annoyed, and so God says, all right, let's do something about this. Now again, the purpose is God is trying to bring about the deliverance from the Philistines. Now, God delivered them in the hands of the Philistines, but that doesn't mean God made the Philistines take Israel. He just said, all right, you can take it. Did you get the difference? Okay. And so the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. He went down to Ashkelon, which is a Philistine city, and he slew 30 men of them and took their spoil and gave change of garments unto them which expounded the riddle. So what did he do? He murdered 30 people. Now, what do you think these clothes probably look like? Yeah, I'd say definitely you're going to need a little bit of a, stain vanish. And his anger was kindled, and he went up to his father's house. Hold on a second. Where is he going? His father's house. He's at a feast. He's at a wedding feast right now. Why does he go up? Well, look at the next verse. Samson's wife was given to his companion, whom he had used as his friend. So it definitely seems like there was some impurity going on, or at least there was some bitterness. And Samson said, I don't want her anymore. Hey, buddy, you can take her. And this is where we see one of the great judges of Israel at the end of the verse. This is tough. Again, we see, I mean, if we were to begin to tell the story, if all you knew about Samson was that the angel of the Lord came down and God had something special on him right from the womb, your mind would probably go towards something like John the Baptist, preparing the way for the Lord. And yet that's not it. God will never force you to do the right thing. God will never force your hand. And that doesn't mean he still can't work through you. And Susie, we've probably heard sermons that God can't use you if you do that. You probably heard sermons like that. I know I have. And I probably preached something like that. But there's a reality. God can use you, even if nothing else, but for a tragic tale, or use you as a bad example. And again, we see this guy Samson. This guy's Mr. Promise. There was a American football player. I'll give you his name. His name was Vinny Testaverde. And you talk about a prideful, arrogant guy. He played quarterback for the University of Miami. And for the big national game, they came out like a bunch of thugs. I mean, they really did, show how tough they were. And I lived in Tampa at the time. And Vinny Testaverde, after the bowl game, in American sports, you get drafted by teams. Each team gets their choice of whoever they want, but it's in a certain order. The worst team gets the best pick. It's not like we have in our sports where if you just have enough money, you buy this person, you bring them up in your little training areas. It's just different. So anyways, this guy, Vinny Testaverde, played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he just wasn't doing well. And after a couple of seasons, this one reporter says, hey, what do you think about what people are saying about your potential, that you have so much potential? He says, I'll be honest with you, I'm sick of hearing the word potential. Potential just means you're not doing what you should be doing at the level you should be doing it. Again, that's what we see at Samson. We see this guy, he has everything going for him. And he is a judge of Israel. And I think there's got to be some positives there, but we don't see them. If the only reason why I'm saying that is there's got to be a reason why he's mentioned in Hebrews 11. If Hebrews 11 wasn't there, I'd just cast doubt on everything about Samson. But because of that, I'm like, okay, there was something behind the scenes. But God is trying to show us the embodiment of what Israel is like. Israel only does that which is right in their own eyes. I want to encourage you that even in the harder things in life, even on things that don't make sense to you, don't do things that are just right in your own eyes. Make sure they're honoring God. Make sure of it. Okay? Any questions about Samson in chapters 13 or 14? We are 2/3 of the way done. Next week, we are going to see some more tragic things about Samson. Par for the course. All right.
Hang on a second.
Yes.
What date's next week?
No, not next week. Not next week. Not
I
next week.
I got no study on
Not
Not
next
The
week.
week after.
The week after.
29th, 22nd, no study. 29th,
Correct.
yes study.
Yes.
I was just trying to show.
Pastor was getting overexcited.
Yeah, I was just trying to show that I too can make mistakes. I didn't, but I just want to give the example.